Hello, my name's Chris Paul, and I am the CEO and founder of Man on Inverclyde, a mental health charity based in Greenock in the west of Scotland. And we're bringing you this message today to raise awareness of mental health and raise awareness of our charity and how we can maybe support you, your friends, or your loved ones if you need it. Now, we started off as a suicide prevention charity and we're continuing that mission. We want to break the stigma attached to mental health. We want to break the stigma attached to men's mental health, and I know that a lot of men will be listening to this podcast. So please get in touch with us via Man on Inverclyde on social media. You'll find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. If you're not on social media and you want to get in touch with us via email, just type in support@manoninverclyde.com. Our landline here is 01475 910 258. So yeah, get in touch with us if you're struggling with your own mental health or you're concerned about a friend or a family member. One of our staff members, our volunteers, here to support you. Thanks for listening.
Hello and welcome to the Gallant Few podcast formerly dedicated to Rangers Football Club, but now we're all things Opposition FC. My name's Colin McDuff and I'm your host as always. Joining me to talk through quite a joyful few days for the club. First of all, Graham Campbell, how are you?
Brilliant, Colin. Yep, it's been an absolutely class few days. I think I'm probably still drunk from the weekend. But good to get talking Rangers tonight.
Don't know how you managed a beer after that game. I was fucked, honestly. I felt like I played 120 minutes, never mind it. Just watched it. Also joining us for God's Country, Steve Caldo. How you doing?
How you doing, Colin? Yep, thanks again for having me on. I have to say, when the dates were decided for the pod, I don't think I expected 2 wins in the last 2 days, so I'm absolutely delighted to be coming on. We've got something good to talk about, mate.
That's right. You put your name down for as far away as possible because we were going through quite a poor bit of form. So you played your cards right with that one, mate.
I was taking extra shifts at work just so I could stay away from the pod.
And also dusting off the cobwebs, coming out the back cupboard to complete the foursome. Graham Curry, how are you?
Magic, Colin. Still on cloud nine. Aye. Same as Steve. I've not been on the pod for a while, but it's funny how I came out the woodwork when we've had two great results. But aye, still on cloud nine, mate. Fantastic.
You're like one of the bastards that tried to get a season ticket when we go back up to the top division. Where were you against Annan? Eh? But no, we're not here to talk about that. So, Graham Campbell, come to you first. Let's just talk about Sunday as much as we humanly can. Rangers got what they deserved.
I don't think anyone can question it. Well, I think we all left the ground probably saying nobody can question it. There can be no complaints, only to be hit with the usual typical media onslaught, talking about everything other than our performance. We won, we were the better team in the day, and the media backlash probably proves that, if anything. I don't think anyone can disagree that we were the better team, bar maybe the first half of extra time. But I felt we outsang them off the park and we outplayed them on the park. So it was a phenomenal day all round, absolutely phenomenal. Couldn't have expected better, to be honest. And we do have a good record in extra time as well. I think we all would have preferred it didn't go that way. There was some nerves jangling, but listen, what a day. We deserved that as a fan base. We've deserved those last 5 days or so. It was amazing.
Steve, quite a lot this season we've seen Rangers play really well in spells, but it's either been we've started the game really well and no just followed up with getting enough goals, or we've waited to 50, 60 minutes till we're 1 goal behind to start playing. You can't, as Graham alluded to there's maybe that 50-minute spell in the first half of extra time, but if you start to finish, Rangers were just up for it.
They were absolutely superb. So I mean, I genuinely think we've got a better team than Celtic, okay, and I've thought that all the way through the season. But after the sort of week before and what we went through on Thursday night with extra time and that, I wasn't overly confident going into Sunday. And then I quite often find in these games, well, in my head, I sort of see the first sort of 10 minutes and I sort of pick who I think's got to win with just who's crunching into tackles and just general attitude. And I thought we started it absolutely superb. I just thought the likes of Lundstram and that put markers down. Thought we were working hard. And as we were sort of getting to half time, I was thinking to myself, I think we probably need the first goal because, if Celtic go ahead, sort of drains a wee bit more energy out the legs and everything. And then, fucking hell, obviously it happened. Celtic went 1-up. And I think probably the only time, like during the 90 minutes and the extra time, that I wasn't overly confident, with the performance. I thought Celtic looked pretty comfortable for about 10 minutes after they scored. And then the subs, bringing Arfield and Davies on and Arfield getting his goal. See that pass for Connor Goldson? Fucking hell, it was unbelievable. And then Taft taking it on his chest and then firing it across early and Arfield bent into the top corner. And then for then, I thought we looked the stronger team. Agree with Graham. Celtic were probably the best spell of the game, maybe the first half of extra time, but I didn't think they were cutting us open or anything like that. So it was just off the scale, wasn't it? It was brilliant.
Absolutely, Graham. We're going to talk about a few players, but we're going to start from the top. Steve mentioned John Lundstram there. I'm running out. Arse kissing for John Lundstram, arse kissing phrases. He was just phenomenal from start to finish.
Steve mentioned it there. It was in the very first 5 minutes he put in a slide tackle. It set the tone. That's what we're going to do. We're going to win this midfield, and he just stamped his authority over the midfield. He was the one that set an example. Follow me. It was a leadership. He acted as a leader, a proper leader. This is the way we're going to play today. And he was crunching into challenges, wasn't giving anybody a minute. And because he done that, it forced everybody around about him to then step up as well. So if they weren't up for it already, they were following his lead, and everybody else done exactly the same. Get into challenges, not allowing people to turn on the ball. As soon as a Celtic player got the ball to feet, there was somebody in tapping right from the start. Lundstram, outstanding. Wasn't he just his tackling? It was his passing as well. His control of the game, I thought, was good. He was able to spread the ball about well, playing the right balls at the right time. Sometimes it was just a wee 5 yard to the side. Sometimes it was a ping into Kent in the wing. It was just an all-round fantastic midfield performance, and he's getting the right plaudits for it.
What you said there about Celtic midfield not getting enough time, that was a massive downfall at Ibrox. Like first and second half, we let Callum McGregor run a riot. He was able to turn on the ball, as you're saying, drive with the ball. Lundstram, first 5 minutes, put down his marker. He wasn't having that. He came up and said, "Listen, you're not going to do what you done to us at Ibrox," and I think that definitely echoed through the team, didn't it?
And they took the huff. You could see them getting pissed off. Celtic players were getting right pissed off because we were right on top of them. They weren't allowed to play their game, and you could see them getting a wee bit frustrated, and then they didn't know what to do. They didn't have a second option where they could play a one-touch pass to get rid of it. As soon as somebody closed them down, they had to take a touch and take a second touch before they could release the ball. They don't have the skill. They don't have the I'm trying to think of the word, but they're not good enough, basically. They're not good enough to play triangles, one-touch triangles that we're able to do. We're able to do that as if you see like the training ground exercises. We do one-touch pass, one-touch pass, one-touch pass. Celtic don't have the ability to do it. So I think as fans, everybody's been able to see it. If we close this team down, harass them, they're not good enough to come up with anything else. So the tactics were spot on. Tactics were spot on right from the start, and it played right into your hands.
Just on the tactics, Graham, we'll come to you. I think talk about that being on the front foot, pressing Celtic, being aggressive when we're off the ball. I've not really seen it for this Rangers team, but the centre halves pushing in towards the midfield, pushing towards the striker. I thought Bassey and Golson done that brilliantly throughout the game, and I thought both fullbacks had excellent games defensively and going forward as well. And I think that really set the tempo.
Absolutely, and I guess it's not just tactically the way we set up, but it's managing through the game. And Gio's been kind of inconsistent. Some games he's been excellent tactically throughout the game with his use of subs. Other games there's been bafflement with the fans. I think this game in Sunday, let's not pretend and beat around the bush. Callum McGregor's one of the better players in Scotland, and he's their best player, and he makes them tick. We dealt him so much better on Sunday instead of respect. We almost sat off and gave him the last two Firm games. That made all the difference. Once you can nullify their threat in the middle of the park, which I felt we did, bar maybe a couple of runs, that really helped. And when we look at the tactical subs, when we've got a berth of talent in midfield, whether it's Jack and Lundstram, we were able to bring on Kamara, Davis, Arfield, Wright, we had Ramsey, obviously. The difference was they weren't able to bring on anyone. I don't think they changed McGregor, and they didn't bring off Hatate until 100 and whatever minutes. So it's the depth of our squad, and it's good to see he's using it. But I felt tactically that Gio got the subs absolutely spot on, and that's something else that we bested Celtic at on Sunday. So yeah, I think we set up well. I thought our defence had a great game. Barisic, fair play to him again. I think he did the same on Thursday. He kind of signalled that he was going to need to come off. I think maybe a bit of cramp, especially in the groin. But what that does is when Balogun comes on, we know who has a burst of pace. Puts Bass out there. Now Bass has played 200 plus minutes now in the last five days. Still running the width of the length of that park with 5 minutes to go extra time, outrunning James Forrest, who came on 20 minutes before. So look, Taman, we were unbelievable. And just to echo John Lundstram, oh my word, he will be it wasn't looking like it the first few months, but he's got to be signing this season, right? And you just see the leadership coming from him and how much we've clearly got under his skin as a club as well. You can tell from singing the Blue Sea Ibrox on Thursday to yelling at Bassey when he was kind of down looking to see how a Celtic player was. He's got leadership in droves. So, no, look, Taman, we were unbelievable on Sunday, and that includes Gio.
We've not had enough of that bad bastardness who can back it up with talent in the last 10 years, have we? That John Lundstram showed. He can play a ball, but by God, he must have a set of balls if he's up for shouting at a unit like Calvin Bassey.
The only one I would say, Jack. I think Jack's got that leadership about him, but he's been in and out the team for the past year, but he's got that same sort of dig about him. He understands the club. So I think with Lundstram and Jack in the midfield, you've got that, but you can. I think Lundstram outshone him in terms of the nastiness of him, which you definitely need. You know, it's and it wasn't. Graham there was saying McGregor is a star man. Rogic is getting a lot of time, a lot of space. He sometimes pulls the strings in the midfield. He didn't get a sniff. He was hooked after an hour. He just didn't get a sniff. So it wasn't just one player that we had to single out. I would say we had to single out, or we had to target the two midfielders there, and we've certainly done that. So,
Steve, when we talk about leaders, I'm going to talk about the two best subs of the game, Steve Davis and Scott Arfield. Well, I thought Rangers still had the better of Celtic up until then. Like in general play, obviously we were 1-0 down at this point. I thought these two subs got us over the edge. In terms of leaders, I thought they were excellent. Steve Davis, he'll take the ball under any sort of pressure. And see when you've been playing almost 90 minutes, and you see Davis showing for the ball, and you know he's got to play the ball in a safety or in a good passage of play. That must be so reassuring. And Scott Arfield, he's that kind of like Barisic. No, in terms of confidence levels, but when he's got the fire in his belly, he's either going to have an off game or he's right up for it. And thankfully on Sunday was right up for it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I was a wee bit critical of Van Bronckhorst on Thursday. Just after, I would have brought Davis on after about an hour, because I just think he must be like a dream teammate. Anytime you lift your head up, he's got to take the ball off you. You know, so if you're under a wee bit of pressure, pop it into Davis and he'll give it back to you, or he'll pop it onto somebody else. And I just think they were two great subs to bring on. You know, as you say, Davis takes the ball anywhere, and Arfield just he just had that head on him, didn't he? He was not going to be on the losing side on Sunday. I don't mean that, I'm probably doing him a bit of disservice, but he just charged about the pitch, bundle of energy. It was almost like saying, this is your last game. And he just, as I say, he was never going to come off on the losing side. See, just going quickly back to John Lundstram, I was actually speaking to a guy at work, a non-Rangers fan, a couple of weeks ago about Lundstram. And we were just talking about signings and stuff. And he said, do you think he's been another one of these guys that have come up to England and thought he's got to coast it in Scotland? And I says, no, I don't think so. Why I thought he struggled at the start of the season, I thought he was getting used in the wrong position. It was almost like he was told to be a sitting midfielder, and it was almost like a player whose legs had went. You know, it was just like sit there and pass. And it was almost, see when it was like he got told to take the handbrake off. And you see when he can use his energy, and like he's got strength, he's not slow, he's got good ability on the ball, you know, put tackles in. And I don't know if it was him or I'd say it's more since Van Bronckhorst come in, or whether somebody just said to him, look, you're not a player that needs to sit in the centre circle. You're a guy that needs to get about the park and affect games. And ever since that, he's probably been one of our best players. But I don't think it was ever an attitude thing with him. I think he was just getting used wrong. Whether we just need to sort of learn how to use him. But I think when you have somebody in the middle of the park like him, you know, the rest of the players feed off that. You're putting tackles in like that, so I'm going to put tackles in like that. You're putting that much energy in, I'm going to put that energy in. And if there's two players in the team that you're saying you want to be closing down, Lundstram and Bassey, you know, if you're on the half turn as Rogic or McGregor are a lot of the time, and you've got Lundstram and Bassey up your arse, you're not wanting that. Probably the two players you don't want up your arse, to be fair.
No, it's a good point about Lundstram. I do remember, like, when he was coming on, it was almost like Gerrard was trying to mould him into another player's position. So when Davis was out injured, Lundstram was asked to play the Steve Davis role. Or there was even at times where he was maybe trying to be used like a Joe Aribo, playing a wee bit on the right, a bit further forward. It's not his game at all. So I'm just glad that Gio's getting the best of him. Graham, just on Scott Arfield again, we'll come to the goals. I'm not going to give too much airtime to that Turncoat Taylor's goal. It was deflection anyway, and it doesn't really matter. So on to one each. Scott Arfield. I'm so glad he picked Sunday to have his fucking shooting boots on instead of Thursday.
Aye, fantastic finish, I thought. Right place, right time. Good control as well. I thought if he didn't, it was a nice wee touch that was taken to lay into his path, and he's just guided it. He just guided it nicely into the bottom corner, or middle corner if you like. But aye, really good finish. He was up for it. He came on and he was full of energy as well. Wasn't on for long before he started to make a difference. You know, he was asking for the ball. He was harrying. But aye, a fabulous goal. I didn't see it coming. I was ready for waving the white flag. I thought we wilted after their goal. I thought I just couldn't see it. I was watching it and I just couldn't see a goal coming. I thought we would have huffed and puffed, maybe had a couple of chances, but I really didn't see that coming at all. And wow, what a release it was when that ball hit the back of the net. It was the whole stadium went mental. The players went mental. It was a proper release of excitement and relief and euphoria. It was one of the moments that you'll not forget.
I thought the fans were excellent, start to finish, if we're being fair.
Aye, well, the whole game. I think it was Graham that said at the start, just outsang them. We outsang them the full the full day, the full game. But it was quite the atmosphere.
So in the extra time, Graham, and that man with a smile. He might not be credited with a goal in Sky Sports, but I'm giving it to. He comes from Zambia and he saved my day. What was it like when this goal went in for you?
Undescribable joy, right? I think before it even came on, I don't know if I never clocked it, but I think on the Hampden screens, it was saying about random stats, and Sakala had obviously scored in every round of the Scottish Cup, so a few of the guys round about were talking about that. And to be honest, 117th minute came on, I was kind of starting to think penalties, like nobody wants it, but I couldn't help think about penalties. Whenever it was, he came on 107. That I can't remember. It doesn't really matter. 30 minutes to go. I think extra time, and he came on, and we took off Roof. So again, that's a call where actually Gio's saying, "Well, do you know what? I'm not thinking about penalties. Penalties isn't in my mind. Bringing on Sakala." It was absolutely not his goal. I'm not even sure he touched it, but I could not give a
Fuck off, man. Fuck off. He's getting it.
I'll take the delight that Starfelt's booted it into his own net, actually. But like the run Bassey makes down the left, and Kent, man, the engine on him is just unbelievable. Like, he's always for going. I don't think I've ever looked at Kent and thought he looks leggy, he looks tired. No matter what game, no matter how he's played, how long he's played for. I mean, the engine on him is just ridiculous. Again, I thought he was excellent, but for that overlap for Bassey, and as I said earlier, Forrest, who came on as a sub, he's not slow. He's no catch them. I think Bobby Madden outran James Forrest if you look at the replay. But Bassey in overlap, and just such a dangerous ball in. We'd had a couple of cross the face balls in the second half extra time that we'll maybe just want a wee break or a wee bit of luck, and obviously we got it, and I don't think they were ever going to, like, yeah, they could have gone up the park and they might have got one more chance, but the game management by us for those last 5 minutes, in fact, what would that be, 9 minutes, because Madden found 4 minutes injury time in extra time, which I don't think I've ever seen before, by the way, but we managed that game so unbelievably well, and to see it out. And I think just for me, the most important part is it's the character. It's the character we showed for coming for one goal down with 25 minutes to go, or one down with 13 minutes to go, and we bring it back and we win in extra time. But out of everything, for me, that's the most important part. We're going to need a lot of character, whether it's maybe the league's gone, yeah, probably, but if we're going to win the Scottish Cup, if we're going to progress to the final of Europa League, we'll need all that character, and we've clearly got it in our squad.
Steve, we're going to come to Thursday night in a minute, but how important is that result for Gio? The reason I ask, I don't think anybody in this podcast, saying maybe Kenny, who's a fucking moody wee bastard at times, or you tell him the right time and he says Gio out. Other than that, I think we're all in agreement. Like, he has to get a chance in the summer, but there were people genuinely question, is it time for him to go? I think this must curry a lot of favour for him now.
Yeah, I don't think I would have questioned if it was time for him to go, but I certainly had doubts about, well, I mean, at the end of the day, come in with a 6-point lead in the league, and we're now 6 points behind. Whatever excuse you can give for that, there's been a 12-point swing. Yep, it's not his players or anything, and managers would always argue that they need sort of transfer windows and stuff. But you know, we'd went 7 or 8 games without getting beat for Celtic before he came in, and that would have been a swing to 3 defeats in the trot. And Rangers managers, you know, I think you do need a good result against Celtic in big games towards the start of your sort of career as a manager at Rangers, just to, you know, so the fans know that you can win big games. I mean, we obviously can't argue what he's done in Europe, but I think it was a massive win for him. And I think it was the way that it was done as well. It was, you know, it was his subs that influenced the game. I thought McLaughlin, as Graham was saying there, towards the end, Celtic put a couple of crosses in the lap, but McLaughlin came and dealt with it. You know, if he'd had a shocker, and you know, gave away a penalty but sent off, whatever, that would have been a big one on Van Bronckhorst, so it would have. So I've questioned some of his subs. I think he can be quite slow with subs sometimes. But overall, you know, you've got to give him credit. I don't think he done anything wrong on Sunday. Really, tactics, yeah, massive for him. And he's such a likeable bloke. He is. You know, I really want him to do well. Obviously, I'm a Rangers fan. I want him to do well, but it's just a massive win for him. So chuffed for him.
One thing, just when Steve's talking about McLaughlin there,
I fucking knew you were going to come in. I knew you were going to come in. The McGregor basher.
Look, I love McGregor as much as the next guy, but I think when we saw he was coming in at the start of the game, I think probably thought, oh well, do you know what, McLaughlin's played the last 3 rounds, Gio's been fair on him, blah blah blah. But I think in the first 5 minutes, the way we were playing, passing the ball about the back, something that we weren't really able to do as well in the last 2 Fulham games. It was clearly a tactical decision, by the way, and that needs to be applauded with utmost, because McLaughlin is comfortable with the ball. His feet, look, there's a couple of hairy moments between him, Golds and Bass and all that. But listen, one thing that we didn't do in the last 2 Fulhams were pass the ball about. So they had Maeda, who, by the way, I'm convinced isn't a football player. He's just a professional menace and just runs about like a madman up there. I'm not saying I'm not slating the guy. He's just difficult to play against. A menace, probably doesn't kick the ball at all, but he caused issues and we couldn't have played that way with McGregor. We couldn't have. So it was absolutely a tactical decision, and it really paid off. And there was a wee montage on social media, if you've seen it, 4 or 5 crosses that McLaughlin came for throughout that game, 2 or 3 of which I'm absolutely convinced McGregor wouldn't have touched, and 2 of them at least I think a Celtic player was going to win the header. Now, for me, I would have McLaughlin keep the jersey for the rest of the season. I don't think that will happen, but it does make such a difference having a goalie that just claims a ball in that 6-yard box, and McLaughlin did that, and it was just really good to watch. And you know, it gives you a bit more confidence when you've got crosses coming in, and you know your keeper's going to come and collect it or punch it, and that's the main thing.
It's not just the short passing though, Graham. It's not just the short passing between the back 4, it's the long passes as well. He's able to ping a ball to the wing up to the halfway line and find a man. He's able to play a ball into Lundstram or into Jack. He's actually able to play a ball with accuracy, takes the pressure off everybody, because Celtic have pushed 3 guys forward and it's left a gap in the midfield, and he'll find that gap with such accuracy. So it's which is good. The short passing around the back is good and definitely a tactic we employed, but that longer range or mid-range passing is such a good tactic to have, because it just relieves the pressure off the defence. We've sucked him in, and now we've already got a man over in the midfield just by doing that. And the 2 punches that you mentioned as well, I thought they were, because that was late on in the game, and it really needed it. It was punching whatever was in front of him. If that happened to be a Celtic head, a Rangers head, or the ball, something was getting punched.
Yeah, I mean, there's been times in games this year, and I hate slagging off Alan McGregor. I think everybody agrees what he's done for Rangers, but there has been times in games this year, and even Braga on Thursday night, when they got that corner, I sort of expected a goal. See, on Sunday, when they were getting corners towards the end game, I didn't think they were going to score. And that just comes because I think McLaughlin come out and took a couple of balls. And I mean, they were balls that he should have came for and they should have taken. There was nothing absolutely spectacular about it, but there's been a tactic from teams this year, swing balls onto the 6-yard line, and they know McGregor's not coming for them. And as I say, I feel uncomfortable even as if I'm having a go at Alan McGregor at all, but I felt so much more comfortable towards the end of the game on Sunday, knowing that we had a keeper that was coming to take the ball.
And Steve, you've hit the nail on the head there. There is no doubt you've got to be a lousy coach if you don't make the tactic to put that ball on the line of the 6-yard box, right? That would be silly not to. There's without a doubt Braga, that corner was a tactic. Now, that's another thing. leading up to that game on Sunday, I've no doubt Celtic, one of their tactics would have been to do that. So to Gio to throw in McLaughlin, I don't think anyone really expected him at start. He threw him in. That is one big set piece tactic that Celtic have missed out on. Something they'd probably been working on most of the week, where to pinpoint their set pieces, whether it was Collins or free kicks, knowing that McGregor will not really come off his line. And again, that's another spanner in the works for them. And it did make a difference, as Graham says, having that kind of mid-range passing. Again, with the way Celtic presses, they did it at Ibrox and we couldn't really do anything about it. So to have a keeper with a wider range of passing did absolutely make a difference. And it was a really, really good tactical decision by Gio. And I don't think it was just a, we've played the other rounds. It was tactical and it was brilliant.
So we've touched on it there. We'll go on to Thursday. Graham Curry, I know you always wake up at start your weekend with a semi, as did Rangers. So,
right, okay, yeah. What's your question, Colin? Carry on.
Shows your semi. So Rangers 1-0 down for the return leg. Did you expect what you seen at Ibrox Thursday night?
Yes, I thought we would have. I was expecting a victory, to be honest. So I was actually surprised it took so long. I thought we could have put the team away a wee bit earlier. Doesn't take away the spirit in the team and the ability to do it over that period of time. But I thought we could have maybe had 2 or 3 goals by 60 minutes in. So hard to say you're disappointed after a result like that and getting through, but by that point in the game, I really did think we should have been a few goals up and I should have put the game to bed. And we nearly shot ourselves in the foot there. But it was due to the spirit and the determination and the character that we've already spoke about that got us through that tie. We just had to keep on ploughing away. When I say I didn't see them score in a second, I didn't see that. So if it was anything, I thought we were going to maybe get put out in penalties or something horrible like that. But yeah, I thought we should have maybe put the game to bed a wee bit earlier.
Steve, I think there's a lot of comparisons between Sunday and Thursday, in particular some of the players who really stood out, but even the way Rangers approached the game. Graham's saying there we should have been 2-3 up by the time Braga got one back, and I do agree with him. That's in before Sunday, that was probably the best I've seen Rangers play for 80 minutes because they were just consistently on the front foot, and they didn't allow Braga a chance to breathe.
See, going into the game, there's 2 things that sort of made me confident. First one, Ibrox got to Braga the last time we played them. You know, they were 2 up and they looked pretty good. As soon as Rangers got a goal back, I thought you could see them wilting. So that gave me a bit of confidence. And also, they celebrated the 1-0 home win a wee bit too much in my view, because Rangers were pretty stinking in the first leg. I was taking, the positive I took for the first leg was, it was all about the result. I would rather we went there and played like we did and lost 1-0 and come back with a chance, rather than going across there, played excellent and conceded 2 late goals or whatever. So the 1 goal in it, and yeah, they're probably 4 or 5 players different, but I certainly thought we could get to them, and Ibrox did get to them. And to score in, 70 seconds or something? Unbelievable. And, you know, I think we'll maybe get to talking about VAR later on, but, you know, we hit the post, we hit the bar, with 2 or 3 goals chopped off with VAR. I've actually lost count of what it was. And I mean, they were rightly chopped off. We've had goals given because of VAR and penalties correctly given because of VAR. So I'm not saying they were the wrong decisions of that, but we actually did do enough to put them away really, really comfortably within 90 minutes. Already touched on, you know, they got their corner and there was a bit of sense of dread. But even from that moment, I thought the players dealt with it well. And Graham said the only way I could see us getting beat was on penalties. But it was good for Roof to get his goal, because I've been quite critical of him Probably the two Celtic games, I thought, and probably a bit unfair because I think actually the team was still set up for Morelos to be playing, and we've tried to slot Roof in. And I thought he was really, really good against Braga and at the weekend. So delighted that he got the winning goal, well deserved. And the atmosphere was someone else on Thursday night as well.
I know it kind of made up. Obviously, I've been feeling sorry for myself after missing the Dortmund game at Ibrox because I had that fucking COVID for the second time. So I feel after seeing that on Thursday night. And there's Graham Campbell. For the listeners, just give me the wanker sign through the Stripe video. But I feel that made up for it. That was a really special night and what an atmosphere. Graham, I'll come to you prick. Came out of Roof, you have well and truly banged that drum since day dot. And I agree with Steve. I thought he had two really good games. He probably won't get the credit for Sunday because he didn't score or get an assist. Well, I suppose he did with Arfield, but I thought he led the line well, and he didn't lead the line the way Alfredo Morelos does. He led it in the way Kemar Roof should, and the team adapted to it, and it gave him half a chance.
Look, Kemar Roof is just utterly wonderful. What a guy. The last 2 or 3 games specifically, he's been unbelievable. And yeah, he has led the line really well. To the point where at this moment in time, I feel like Gio does have a decision to make in terms of the league, because I really think Kemar Roof needs to be wrapped up in cotton wool. If we were to lose him through injury, Europe's gone. It is gone. I think we could have enough about us to see Hearts off in a Scottish Cup final with Sakala up front, but we're not getting through 3 matches in the Europa League to potentially try and win it if we lose Kemar Roof. So I think decisions do have to be made about priorities now from now until the end of the season, because it has been phenomenal. His control, his strength is just unbelievable, and I think we have changed the way we've played slightly to match him up front. I think you saw that a bit more again Sunday when you look at Scott Wright coming on. He drifted into the centre of midfield quite a bit when he got the ball, drifted out wide as well, but a bit more dynamic. When Wright came on for Ramsey, I was a wee bit baffled by that one, but it proved to be an absolute stroke of genius. I thought he had a great game. His close control was excellent, and having these players either side of Roof is brilliant. I think Wright set himself up well for the rest of the season to have some impact on some of the games. But I don't know. I do feel like we've got a lot of players in our squad that are too late for the league, but they're starting to come into it. When we talk about the Europa League, having these players hitting form at the right time, it's completely different. Now is completely different to 2008. Look, 2008 was amazing, what a run it was, but obviously the style that Walter Smith had us playing, and that was playing to the strengths of the team we had at the time. It's completely different to the team we're watching now, and this is a team that can go and win games if we play well, that will score goals if they play well. I honestly believe, and I mean, I think you can go back in the recordings, Colin. I'm sure you'll hear me somewhere saying that we'll win the Europa League this season. You'll season Seville, but I honestly believe we will. We can absolutely, undoubtedly win the Europa League, and it's just about making sure that 1, we keep these players fit, and 2, they continue hitting this kind of vein of form. And we've only got a few games left this season. I mean, I'm really excited. I'll be honest.
Just when you mentioned the 2008, and you're maybe saying wrap Roof up in cotton wool, he's the man that's going to lead us in Europe. I bet Colin's about to mention Daniel Cousin. I bet he's going to mention him. Am I right?
You know me so fucking well, aye. It's my biggest regret, Daniel Cousin with that stupid header, Fiorentina. This is meant to be a good mood podcast, Graham.
I could just sense it as soon as it comes up, but it is a true comparison. I think he does lead the line like him. He gets about, he throws himself about. He's a strong boy, Roof. I wonder if he's maybe just been injured all this time and he's just not had a chance. And now he's starting to get 90 minutes, and that's what he's actually needed. He's needed to get regular game time. Would they say that about players, that they need proper game time, and now that he's starting to get regular, that's now him finding his true form, which, you know, a few years did see that he had it in him. But I think he's been fantastic the last few games as well. Really good showing from him, and he's had to step up because there's not a lot else there, which backs up Graham's point that if he's injured, we're knackered.
Steve, just touching on injuries, we spoke about him a couple of times, but not in any great detail. Aaron Ramsey, thought he had a decent game on Thursday, but obviously he was subbed off before half time on Sunday. Apparently it was a tight hamstring. Just with his record, and not even before Rangers, but since he's been at Rangers as well, I can't help behind this might be his last game that we've seen him play.
Yeah, I did read a report. I think it was in the Times earlier on, basically saying that they think that's his season over. But somebody had said to me that this has been reported before and he's actually came back. But if that is him done for us, I'm not going to criticise the club for taking the gamble, because I think if you get offered a player of that quality to come in for, you know, potentially winning the league, potentially winning the Scottish Cup, and potentially going very far or winning the Europa League, I think you've just got to take it. You know, however much it's cost the club. If you said to me, rewound back to whenever it was in January and we had the chance to sign him, I would still say sign him, because he just has so much quality. I think the games he's played in, I've been quite impressed with his work rate. I thought he was maybe going to be one of these players that comes up and stands about and likes to do wee flicks and whatever, but I think when he's played, he's put the effort in. He played at Gallant at Annan, you know, no sort of prima donna attitude about that. I just think sadly his body's letting him down a wee bit. But if it is his last game, I'd thank him for his efforts, and yeah, I hope he can get himself fit and start playing games, to be honest.
From what we've seen, there's been times where I've thought the guy is clearly an absolute cut above anyone else on the pitch. I don't know about you guys, but specifically on Thursday against Braga, I don't think he had as much effect on Sunday as he did on Thursday. But honestly, I said at the time, it was one of the finest midfield performances I've seen in a Rangers shirt in my time going to Ibrox. I thought he was unbelievable against Braga. Like, the guy is just a cut above, and you can tell. Like, for me, it was a world class performance that he put in against Braga, and that's where I'm really devastated that he's going to miss the rest of the season. As I say, I don't think he had as much influence in the game on Sunday, whether again that was tiredness or whatever from the shift he put in, but I think it's in Europe. You have Buff and you have Ramsey for the last 3 games in the Europa League potentially. I really think we would be flying. We're now missing them. I'm not saying it's all lost or anything like that, but that honestly I could not have sang his praises higher than that game on Thursday, and I'll be gutted if he's out for the rest of the season, because like, not only is that, but obviously any hopes of us even going near him in the summer, look, that was unlikely anyway, but that's gone regardless. And like Steve says, look, you can only thank him for coming in and the few games he's done, because it's been great to see him. Honestly, the way he breaks up play, his movement, some of the touches are just, he's a cut above, and you can tell.
Nah, so here's hoping all the reports are a bit of a infatual read, and he's back for the game against Leipzig a week on Thursday. So before we wrap up for our predictions against Motherwell, big bit of news came out for Scottish football today. Graham Curry, I'm going to come to you, the resident Gallant View referee. We voted in VAR, but in true Scottish football fashion, we can't even vote something in properly. We're going to do it halfway through next season, just for the shits and giggles. What's your thoughts?
Thoughts on VAR in general are, I've never been a fan of it, but that's because I'm old-fashioned and I want just a pure game of football, 4-4-2, and I want the other team to play 4-4-2. And
you still want a big guy and wee guy up front, don't you?
Exactly that. Yeah, I get annoyed at electronic substitution boards and stuff like that. I don't know why they have to be electronic. Just make put a bit of paper up, that'll do. But no, moving with the times, and we definitely need to get VAR, and the whole of Europe's got it. And we are sadly lacking. But how many years behind are we? 3-4 years behind. So we're already behind. All these referees are already ahead of us, know how to work it, or a lot better at being going to be able to analyse things like this. So we're already behind, but it had to get brought in at some point. And you're right, I don't know why it's got to be halfway through a season. That it does not make sense to me. How long does it take to get trained up on how to watch a telly and make a decision? But I used to do, as you know, Colin, I used to be a referee, right? I'm amateur referee, lowest level and that, whatever. But I used to go to some of the meetings, and what they would do is at the training is they would put up on a telly, and it would maybe just be a junior game. I don't know, maybe Pollock versus Irvine, Fix or whatever. And they would say, right, what would you do in this situation? And so they're already in the habit of watching a game, analysing it, and making a decision. So it's not as if this is a completely new concept to them. Referees should know how to look at a telly and go, right, I know the rule, I know the laws of the game, that is definitely offside, or that is definitely a penalty, make my decision. It should not be taking 6 months to be trained up on how to do it. Unless I'm missing something, unless there's a technological reason why, it has to be installed. Maybe the stadiums need to be revamped and it has to take that length of time. But if it's a refereeing thing, then it's taking far too long to get brought in. And it's kind of a nonsense that, you're going to have 2 games against an opposition. Let's say Motherwell. We're going to have 2 games against Motherwell next season. We've got VAR, and then two games against Motherwell where we don't have it. And it just feels a bit odd. But I'm all for it. I'm all for it being brought in. As I said, now that it's here, I think Rangers will benefit. I really do. I think the amount of decisions we get screwed out of, again, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't think referees are out to get us. I think there's influence put on the referees sometimes, and it's unavoidable. I think referees, they make bad decisions against Rangers, and there's probably outside influences and whatever. I don't think referees are out to get us. I really don't. I know people complain, or whenever Beaton gets appointed, everybody gets up in arms and says, "Oh, he's going to do us," and whatever. I don't agree with all that. I don't think that's the case. But I do think they're influenced by outside influences, if you like. And I think VAR will really, really help Rangers a lot. The amount of decisions that go against us, which are easily overturned when you watch a replay. So I'm all for it now, yeah.
Steve, Graham probably really summed up my thoughts perfectly there. I would say in Europe this season, we've seen VAR go for Rangers and against Rangers, but I'm okay with that. I just want Rangers refereed fairly. My only worry is that, while this will help with offside decisions and stuff, it's still going to be the same idiots refereeing the game, so stuff is still going to be missed. But all in all, I do think it will help the game. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think first of all it was the right decision to bring it in, because I think just about every other major league in Europe's got it. One thing I didn't understand was why League 2 and League 1 clubs got a vote on it, because they're never going to be using it really. I mean, I don't know if it's Scottish Cup or whatever, but so I get Championship and Premiership. Another thing that shocked me was that there was actually, 41-1 vote, because you could hold up a white and black card in Scottish football and get people to vote in the colour, and you would get a fucking even split, I think. So I was kind of shocked at the 41-1. Just echo yours and Graham's thoughts on bringing it through halfway through a season. That is absolutely ridiculous. Just typical Scottish football. But yeah, overall, I think it's time to come in, and I actually think it will help the referees, because I think it takes a bit of pressure off them to get the right decision. If it's someone you're not sure about, you let it go. The guy in the trailer or wherever they'll be sitting has a look at it. He looks at it kind of whilst, he's obviously should know the rules, and you're not getting the influence of the crowd, I don't think, as much. So they should get to the right decision more. Overall, just for it. Glad we've got it. We're getting it.
Last word on you, Graham. How funny would it be if Rangers were the one club that voted against it?
Yeah, it wouldn't. It would be embarrassing, I guess. I'm sure it wasn't. God knows who it was. I'm assuming we'll find out eventually. But interestingly, Graham Curry say I will be playing Motherwell 4 times next season. So there you go, Well fans listening to this podcast. Graham Curry actually finishing the top 6 next season. So congrats on that achievement again. So, but look, it's the right decision. Halfway through a season is a total farce. I'll tell you right now, I guarantee it. Halfway through that season, you know our media and stuff, I guarantee there'll be a table. Then there'll be a table if VAR was in this half of the season. Then at the end of next season, there'll be a table and a table if VAR was in the whole season. All that's to come. It's going to be brilliant. It's going to be fun and games. So yeah, bring it on, I guess. But it's about time it's been brought in.
Happy days. We've all agreed. VAR's a good call, but the SFA are idiots, and that's as good a point as any to wrap it up. Thank you all for listening. I'm going to come and ask my guests to give their farewells or goodbyes, and I'd like to thank them for joining. And as always, I'm going to press them for a prediction for this Saturday's game away to Motherwell. So kicking us off, good to have you back, Graham Curry.
Cheers, Colin. Cheers, boys. Good to be back again. It's been a long time, but I'd like to be back, especially after such a momentous week. For me, it's going to be an Itten hat-trick against Motherwell, 3-0.
Big Itten listening to this podcast is probably the closest he's getting to the game. Thank you very much for joining us for On the Road, Steve Caldo.
Yep, so I'm taking into account what Graham was saying earlier on about we maybe have to prioritise for the rest of the season. I think we go balls out against Motherwell. If we get the win, put a bit of pressure on Celtic playing the next day. I'm going to go 4-2 Rangers.
Last but not least, Graham Campbell, thank you very much.
Yeah, cheers for having us on. Roof's going to be rested. Scala's going to hit a hat-trick. We're going to win 5-0, and I'll see you boys in Seville.
And I'm going to go a solid 2-0 win for Rangers. It's not going to be pretty. We're not going to play anywhere near as well as we played the last 2 games. It's the Rangers way. 2-0 Rangers. And then just saving ourselves for the following Thursday. On that note, thank you very much everybody for listening. Enjoy your weekend when it comes. We are the people.